Hello, welcome to the Gallant Few Rangers podcast. My name is Mason Stewart and I'll be your host for our Gallant quiz final. It's been a long wait. I know an anxious wait. I know everyone's waiting for it. But no, looking really forward to it tonight. And we'll start with the quiz master then, Mr. The man with all the knowledge, Mr. Davey Hurd. How are you, Davey?
I'm absolutely fine, and knowledge is easy when you've got the answers written in front of you, by the way. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see who the brains of the Gallant few happen to be. The two youngsters made the final, which must tell me something about your brain getting a bit spongy as you get older, but never mind.
Oh, yeah, we'll use that excuse after if I lose anyway. I ain't got that one, but how are you, Kris? You good? You nervous?
Of course, mate. a lot on the line here. Pride. Nah, I'm all good, mate. As I said, mate, it's just a bit of fun, and it's always good to rack the knowledge with the Rangers and the trivia.
Yeah, that's it. And
Well,
I mean,
there's no way Colin can afford to put a prize up, is there? So it's definitely about pride.
I said to him earlier, "What's the prize, Colin?" He went, just to win, mate. That's good enough."
That'll do me.
Yeah, brilliant. But Davey, so what's on the agenda tonight? Have we got? Is it slightly different from the last couple? Is there a new section in there?
Similar. Well, I'll make the subject slightly different. So you've got 5 rounds, but this time there's 5 questions in each, so it's out of 25. See, there's only 2 of you. And each round's got a specific topic, obviously. I'll take you through what the 5 topics are. So round 1 is called the Steven Gerrard years for you youngsters. Round 2 is quite simply called Games Against Celtic. Round 3 is called Overseas Managers. So that gives you a clue who's going to be involved in that one. Round 4 is called Transfers. And round 5 is called Matches at Hampden. So there. 5 in each of them. If it happens to be a draw at the end of it all, there's another one of these brain-bending tiebreaker questions that the nearest will be declared the winner. That'll make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant.
So again, just as we did the last time, we'll just at the end of each round, we'll get your answers. I'll keep a score as we go, and depending on how close it is, I might tell you what the scores are. If somebody's run away with it, I don't think I'll need to tell you that. Okay, so you all set? You all set?
Yep. Yeah, let's get right into it, David. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay then. Okay, so round number 1, the first 5 questions are on the Steven Gerrard years. And question 1. Rangers drew 1-1 at Pittodrie in Steven Gerrard's first league match in charge of Rangers. Alfredo Morelos was sent off after only 12 minutes. Who was the referee? This is when it goes all quiet, isn't it? So who's the referee that sent Alfredo off after only 12 minutes of Gerrard's first league game? Okay, question 2. From which club did Gerrard sign Umar Sadiq on loan in the summer of 2018?
What a signing he was,
I've tried to block him out of my brain, to be fair.
Famous for a dive at Hampden, basically, wasn't he?
That's right.
From which club did Gerrard sign Umar Sadiq on loan in the summer of 2018? Is he not worth about 40 million quid now these days, that guy?
I know, he's meant to be going to Man United and all sorts. He's playing for quite a decent team, I think.
He was in Spain the last time. Anyway, question 3. 3 of the first 4 hat-tricks scored under Steven Gerrard were scored by Alfredo Morelos. Who scored the other one? 3 of the first 4 hat-tricks scored under Steven Gerrard were scored by Alfredo Morelos. Who scored the other one?
Sorry if there's an interruption. My dog's in the room, by the way.
That's all right.
Well, hey. Maybe you'll get the answer. You never know.
I'm not saying his name in case it is an answer to your question.
As long as no Henrik, I don't care, to be honest with you. Right, so that was question 3, the score of the other hat trick. Question 4. Which team did Rangers defeat by the biggest margin in Steven Gerrard's time as manager? Which team did Rangers defeat by the biggest margin in Steven Gerrard's time as manager? Who was our biggest win against? And you've just about survived to the end of round 1 because there's only one question left. And that quite simply is, who were the last team Rangers played in a League Cup match while Steven Gerrard was in charge? Who were the last team Rangers played in a League Cup match while Gerrard was in charge?
Oh,
Oh, mate.
This is the easy round, as I've said at the start.
can't wait for the rest.
That's the idea.
Gonna have to set a gamble.
Oh, I gamble already. I just need to get my
Come on,
pen and paper out so I can keep the scores here.
I think I've had an absolute stinker that round, to be fair.
Oh, this is the recent stuff. This is the stuff with the Castor strips and stuff on. Right, anyway, okay, that's the end of round 1. So we'll just get your answers. I'll start with you, young Mason. So who was the ref that sent Alfredo off at Pittodrie in our first league game under Gerrard?
Kevin Clancy, I've gone with.
Kevin Clancy. Always a good, if you're not sure, always a good guess for somebody that sent a Rangers player. Chris?
Kevin Clancy as well.
Kevin Clancy. Well, this is why you two guys are in the final, because you've both got that one absolutely spot on.
At least I never get
The
granted.
referee. I can't believe there's a Rangers quiz with Kevin Clancy as an answer in it, but never mind. Question 2. Question 2. Chris, from which club did we sign Umar Sadiq on loan?
Roma.
Roma.
Yes.
Mason?
I've got Milan. That's Roma.
It was AS Roma.
What's the shout?
Chris is still on 100%. Chris is still on 100%, by the way. Do you want us to stop now? No. Question 3. Mason, 3 of the first 4 hat tricks were scored by Morelos. Who scored the other one?
Oh, I've got. See, the easy one I'm thinking is Tavernier, but I just don't remember him scoring a hat trick. So I've gone with Lafferty.
Lafferty. What about you, Chris? Who do you think it was?
Defoe against Hibs.
Defoe.
Oh, shout.
It is a good shout, but it's not a right shout. Nobody get that one. The correct answer was Scott Arfield in a 3-0 win at Firth Park towards the end of the season. He scored all 3 goals. If you remember that or not now.
That was right at the end of the season as well, yeah.
That was in the sort of split. It was right towards the end of the season. Right, which team did Rangers defeat by the biggest margin in Steven Gerrard's time as manager, Chris?
Hamilton in the COVID season.
Hamilton in the COVID season. Mason?
8-0.
8-0, Hamilton.
Yep. You saying that as well?
Yeah, Hamilton.
You saying that as well, yeah?
Yeah.
That is absolutely correct. Even Brandon Barker scored that day, so Hamilton must have been really bad.
Just trying to remember if they scored or not. Yeah, I would just remember it was just after the other. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the time we were watching it on Rangers TV, wasn't it? Nobody was there, but yeah. And question 5: who were the last team Rangers played in a League Cup tie under Gerrard? Mason?
I've gone with Kilmarnock, but that is just a complete guess, to be honest.
Chris?
I've went Livingston at Ibrox. It's either Livingston or Dunfermline. I can remember we played both of them, but I'm going to go with Livingston.
Well, the answer is Livingston. We beat Livingston 2-0 in the quarter-final.
What a
I think it was
Chris.
Rufus Morelos that scored. Then obviously left before the semi-final when we played Hibs at Hampden that we don't want to talk about. So, yep. So at the end of round 1, it's 4-2 to the bookies' favourite.
Mate, the pulling that and Roma, great shout.
Yeah. Showing off now. Right, okay, so round 2, quite simply, it's called Games Against Celtic. So this is all, some people call them Old Firm games, don't they? So question 6. Rangers beat Celtic 4-2 at Parkhead in the first Old Firm League game of season 2008-2009. What Rangers player was red carded in that match? So Rangers went to Parkhead, 1-4-2, first league game of 2008-9. Who gets sent off? Kris knows it so much that he's already sipping in his lemonade or whatever it is. Right, okay, so question 7.
Pepsi Max.
Pepsi Max, huh? Question 7. Let's go back a bit. The biggest ever victory in a competitive Old Firm match was Rangers 8, Celtic 1 in 1943. Which Rangers legend scored the hat-trick in that game? This is me testing to see if you've read any of my books. The biggest ever victory in a competitive Old Firm match was Rangers 8, Celtic 1 in 1943. Which Rangers legend scored the hat-trick in that game? Played where we were fighting World War II, obviously. Okay, question 8. Which is the only Premier League season that Rangers won all 4 Old Firm League games? Only done it once. The only Premier League season that Rangers won all 4 Old Firm League games. Is that dog whispering the answer to you? Will we go on? Question 9. Who started in his only ever Old Firm match when Rangers defeated Celtic 4-1 at Ibrox in May 2021? There's a nice recent one for you. Who started in his only ever Old Firm match when Rangers defeated Celtic 4-1 at Ibrox in May 2021? Oh, you've both got that one, I can tell already. And the last question of round 2. Who was the last Rangers player to score a goal against Celtic when Graham Souness was Rangers manager? Who was the last Rangers player to score a goal against Celtic when Graham Souness was Rangers manager? And I'm going to give you a hint here, right? I'm going to give you a hint for free. He was also the first Rangers player to score against Celtic when Walter Smith became the manager. Good questions for the young team, they ones.
Yeah, tough.
I'll tell you just now. I made these. I made these questions up before I knew who was in the final. By the way, they've been sitting for a while. Can only apologise. Right, that's the end. That's the end of round 2. So I think we'll start with you this time, Kris. 4-2 game at Parkhead, 2008-2009. Who gets sent off?
Daniel Kuzan.
Daniel Kuzan, I got that as well.
Mason's nodding away. Okay, that's because you both obviously remember that one because it was indeed the man who opened the scoring that day. Daniel Kuzan. That was his last game for Rangers. We sold him the next day.
Yeah.
To Hull, wasn't it?
Never sent it off as well. Ridiculous.
No, I'm trying to remember what. What Celtic player was it? Was it Caldwell that he jumped up
Benny
with?
Gorhess.
It was another.
The one. McManus was it?
McManus as well. Yeah, that's it.
The McManus. That's who it was.
Then Benny Gorhess
Right,
came on as a sub. Sent off.
You're not getting an extra point for that, but I'm impressed. Question 7. Let's go back to 1943. I know you want to. The 8-1, the famous 8-1 victory over Celtic in 1943. Somebody scored a hat trick for Rangers that day. Who was it? Mason, have a stab at a Rangers legend for 1943.
I've gone Sam English. Complete guess.
Kris?
I've went a complete guess as well. Willie Waddle.
At least he played 1943. Sam English was away long before that. It was actually the man I'm writing a book about right now, Tory Gallant.
Tory Gallant.
I don't know if you know much about Tory Gallant, but if you don't, stay behind
known
after
for the
class
song.
and I'll tell you all about it. He was. He's got so many Rangers records, it's not true, but I won't bore you with them right now. Question 8. Which was the only Premier League season Rangers won all 4 Old Firm League games? Kris?
9 in a row year, 96, 97.
96, 97. Mason?
Since I've got your book, baby, 77, 78.
I wish it had been, because it would have made a better book. No, Kris is absolutely spot on. It was the 9 in a row year. We won both the games at Parkhead 1-0. We won 2-0 and 3-1 at Ibrox.
And they lost the cup game, didn't they?
We did. We get beaten. That was the night Gorham played with broken ribs or something, because Snailders wouldn't play.
I shot it, didn't
The
he?
night we get beat. Well, that's one person's view of it. I'm quite sure he's got another. Anyway, question 9, Mason. Who started his only Old Firm game when we beat them 4-1, May 2021?
Jack Simpson.
Jack Simpson, legendary defender. Kris?
Jack Simpson also.
Jack Simpson is absolutely correct.
We're just taking the piss
These
out.
more modern ones. We were. See Defoe's goal at the end. That was my highlight of that whole season.
Yeah,
I thought it was brilliant.
Stephen Welsh still gets his mum to check under his bed in case Defoe's there. His nightmares about him.
Just think how good he must have been 10 years before that. Anyway, question 10. The last Rangers player to score a goal against Celtic when Souness was the manager. Kris?
It's an absolute guess, but Mark Haley.
Mark Haley. Mason?
I've gone with Haley as well. Haley or McCoist, and I thought McCoist would be too obvious, so I've gone with Haley.
Well, Haley's absolutely correct. He scored in a New Year game. We won 2-0. That was the last time we beat them under Souness. And as I said to you earlier, he also scored the first goal under Smith when we went to Parkhead and won 2-0 the following season. So the scores and the doors at the end of round 2. Kris has got a highly impressive 8 out of 10. And Mason's got an almost as impressive, but not quite 5 out of 10. This is why you guys are in the final.
Falling away. Yeah.
Okay, round 3, overseas managers. There hasn't been too many of them, so you must know who these questions are going to be about. So I've got my Dick Advocaat Memorial strip on for this next question. Or maybe the question after it. Question 11. Dick Advocaat won the league title in 1998-99, which was his first season in charge of Rangers. How many points in front of Celtic did Rangers finish that season? Dick Advocaat won the league title, he actually won the treble in his first season, 1998-99. How many points did Rangers finish ahead of Celtic at the end of that season? Question 12. A player I actually associate with this strip, funny enough. Tory Andre Flo was Advocaat's most expensive signing at £12 million? Who was his second most expensive signing? So Tore André Flo was Dick Advocaat's most expensive Rangers signing at £12 million. That'll probably be the Rangers transfer record forever. Who was Advocaat's second most expensive signing? All right. Question 13. What was the name of the Rangers assistant manager under Paul Le Guen?
I can picture the guy's face as well.
What was the name of the Rangers assistant manager under Paul Le Guen?
I remember
there
wearing
a few months. Blinky, you'd miss him. But who was Le Guen's assistant?
Oh, I can picture the guy's face.
No, if you draw him and I recognise him, do you want a point for that?
I can remember his first name. I can't remember his second name.
Well, that's a start. Question 14. What teenage defender was given his Rangers debut by Pedro Caixinha as a substitute in a League Cup match against Partick Thistle in September 2017? What teenage defender was given his Rangers debut by Pedro Caixinha as a substitute in a League Cup match against Partick Thistle in September 2017? And the last one of this round, the last overseas manager question. Who did Rangers defeat 5-0 in the biggest win of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's managerial reign at Ibrox? Who did Rangers defeat 5-0 in the biggest win of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's managerial reign at Ibrox? A few head scratchers in there, I think.
Yep. Yeah, there's some toughies in there.
Right, so that's the end of round 3. Well, I can't even Mason keep getting just about every question right. We've got to put the brakes on at some point. Right, okay, so overseas managers. Mason, how many points did we finish in front of Celtic in Dick Advocaat's first season?
Total guess. I put 13.
13, unlucky. Kris?
6.
The answer was 6. Why, my God, this boy is good.
I watched the thing on YouTube the other day, the season review, the one where Charbonni's talking about art and horse painting and that. And you don't even see much of the games, but it was. I was watching that the other day and I seen it was the league table event.
It was the year after we finished 21 points in front of them, didn't we?
That's right.
Was that what it was?
Right.
21.
21 the following season, yeah. To question 12, Kris. Tore André Flo was 12 million. Who was Advocaat's second most expensive signing?
I think I've messed this up, but I went with Michael Ball.
Michael Ball. Mason?
I went with Ronald de Boer.
£6.5 million to Everton for Michael Ball.
Oh, Kris is on fire. I thought that was I thought that was a McLeish signing for some weird reason.
No, because remember he threw his jacket at Advocaat when he came off at the piggery.
Aye.
And he get fined for it.
I'm sure he made his debut the same night as Avaladze. A week
Yeah, the Airdrie.
Airdrie, Avaladze scored in his debut, didn't he? Question 13. The Rangers assistant manager under Paul Le Guen Go on, Mason, put him out of his misery. Because he's still sitting there scratching his head.
Honestly, no idea. If I was to guess the first name, I'd say Peer. Rings a bell, but honestly, no clue.
Yeah, okay. Go on, Kris. What was you said? You get his first name.
It begins with a Y. Yves. I don't know his surname, but
Certainly is. Yves Kalu was his name.
I could not get that surname. I just remember the first part, and I can remember his face.
It's a dark-haired guy. Aye.
He always seemed to be smiling as well.
He was the only one.
He had his ticket to book to go home, didn't he?
I think he must have done. Yves Kalu. So, question 14. Kris, who did Pedro give his debut to at Firhill? Teenage Defender, 2017.
Ross McCrory.
Mason?
Yeah, Ross
Ross
McCrory.
McCrory is absolutely correct. You both got that one. And finally, Mason, the biggest win of Gio's managerial reign at Ibrox was 5-0. Who did we beat?
Hearts. I'm sure it was just after the Old Firm game where we got beat there.
Hearts. Kris?
Hearts at Ibrox.
Yep, both got that one. Nice. Tell you. So the scores now, after 3 rounds, is 12-7. Unless you at least equal them in this round, and the last round's a bit of a waste of time, I think. Okay, but we'll plug on. Transfers is round 4. So question 16. Rangers signed Richard Foster on loan from Aberdeen in 2010. What Rangers player moved to Pittodrie on loan as part of the deal?
What year was that? Sorry, Davey.
2010. Rangers signed Richard Foster on loan from Aberdeen in 2010. What Rangers player moved to Pittodrie on loan as part of the deal? There's a kind of loan swap. That's something you really see much of.
I remember being really disappointed with that deal at the time, but I can't remember the player. But I'm going to take a guess.
Okay, question 17. Quite simply, who was the first player to cost Rangers a transfer fee of over £1 million? Who was the first player to cost Rangers a transfer fee of over £1 million? Question 18. Which member of the 1972 European Cup Winners' Cup team in Barcelona was signed from Hibs? Which member of the Barcelona Bears 1972 team was signed from Hibs? Question 19. Which Mark Warburton signing cost the highest transfer fee? So which player did Mark Warburton spend the most money on, in other words? Which Mark Warburton signing cost the highest transfer fee?
Jesus. I do. Just know it was a waste of fucking money anyway.
Well, that's luckily the question wasn't which Mark Warburton signing was a fucking waste of money, because that would have been far too easy. And the last one of this round, which North American club did Danny Wilson join from Rangers in January 2018? Which North American club did Danny Wilson join from Rangers in January 2018? How are we feeling after that one? There's only one round left. Look on the bright side.
I answered them all this
The
time.
torture's nearly over. Well, that's a start. It's always a start. So, Kris, the first one of that round. Richard Foster came to Rangers on loan. Who went to Aberdeen on loan in the opposite direction?
Was it the striker, Velichka?
Velichka. Mason?
That's who I've gone with. Andres Velichka.
And you're both absolutely correct. I don't think he done much at Aberdeen, to be honest. I don't really remember him doing much for them. Maybe because
Pretty
I
sure
don't
he
pay
got
much
called
attention.
back.
Maybe it's because I don't pay much attention to Aberdeen, but I don't remember him doing anything.
Nah.
Who was right, Mason? Who was the first player to cost us over £1 million?
Total guess. I went with Terry Butcher.
Terry Butcher. Kris?
Richard Gough.
Richard Gough was the first £1 million transfer in Scottish football. Well, to a Scottish football team, if you know what I mean. Broke Scottish transfer record that night when we signed him. Actually, Celtic signed Frank McAvenny the same night. And they broke the transfer record at 3/4. We bought Terry Butcher for £700,000 or £725,000. Celtic paid £750,000 for McAvenny at 6 o'clock, and Rangers bought Richard Gough for £1.5 million about 3 years later.
I watched that golf programme that was on BBC iPlayer.
I haven't seen that. I need to watch it.
Icons of Football. It was quite good. It was quite short, but it was good.
I'm quite sure he signed the night we beat Dynamo Kiev. I could be wrong. No. Where are we? Aye. Which member of the 1972 Cup Winners' Cup team was signed from Hibs? Kris?
Just a guess, Steen.
Colin Steen.
You're both saying Colin Steen, and you're both absolutely right. And he was another transfer record. He was the first player to cost 100,000 in Scottish football when we got him. Question 19. Mark Warburton's biggest transfer fee. Who was it on, Mason?
I went with Joey Garner. I can't remember.
Oh, Christ, there's a name.
I can't remember spending a lot of money on. I honestly can't remember. I just remember them all being free transfers, really. But maybe I forgot someone on purpose.
Kris?
Joey Garner also.
You've got Joey Garner, and you're absolutely right. He was. I think he was the only player that cost more than £1 million under Warburton.
I think so.
I don't think we spent £1 million in NDLs. I still can't believe he was worth as much as that, but never mind. Which North American club did Danny Wilson go to? Kris?
Colorado
Mason,
Rapids.
who did it? Colorado Rapids. Mason?
That's what I've got. Colorado Rapids as well.
Hey, I thought you said this quiz was difficult. Colorado Rapids is absolutely correct. So what does that make the scores? With only... Sorry?
I'm sure there was another couple of Scottish boys out there as well. The same club.
Ooh, geez, I might have been. So, one round left. And that's about games at Hampden. Played at Hampden. So question 21. Who scored a last-minute winner for Rangers in a third division match at Hampden against Queen's Park, which was watched by over 30,000 people?
That just sent a shiver up my
back. I know. I'm quite sure Andy Robertson and Lawrence Shanklin both played for Queen's Park on that day.
They did, I think.
They did, aye.
Yeah. Andy Robertson.
Not that I noticed them. But yeah. So who scored the winner in the last minute for Rangers that day? That was question 21. Question 22. Which lower league team did Rangers defeat 5-1 in the League Cup semi-final of season 1975-76? Which lower league team did Rangers defeat 5-1 in the League Cup semi-final of season 1975-76? 3 to go. Next one is, Which player made his Rangers debut in a league game against Celtic at Hampden in 1994? Which Rangers player made his debut in a league game against Celtic at Hampden in October 1994? Question 24. Who scored a penalty in the 4-0 win over Peterhead in the 2016 Petrofac Cup final at Hampden? I'm really dredging them up now, aren't I? Who scored a penalty? Who scored a penalty in the 4-0 win over Peterhead in the 2016 Petrofac Cup final at Hampden? I'm sure that was the week before we beat Celtic in the semi-final of the Cup, wasn't it?
It was, aye.
I'm sure I was at Hampden 2 Sundays in the throat. And the last question. Who did Rangers defeat on penalties in a Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden in 2008? Who did Rangers defeat on penalties in a Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden in 2008? Now, I think the odds are against us requiring the tiebreaker. But just out of sheer sport, I'm going to ask it anyway, just to see if anybody can get the answer to this one. And it's obviously one of these numbers questions. Quite simply, how many yellow cards did Alfredo Morelos receive in his Rangers career? How many yellow cards did Alfredo Morelos receive in his Rangers career? That would be the tiebreaker if it finishes level.
Am I allowed a calculator?
That takes us back. that takes you back to question 1 about Kevin Clancy, probably, but never mind. All right, so that was the last 5 questions with Hampden. I'll let you go first this time, Mason, because I can't remember what order we're in. Who scored the last-minute winner against Queen's Park in the 3rd division?
Fraser Ed.
Fraser Aird. No. Kris?
Fraser Aird.
Fraser Aird. Canadian wing wizard is the answer. Right answer to that one. What lower league team did we defeat in the League Cup semi-final in 75-76, Kris? Let's show your massive range of Rangers knowledge here.
Mate, it's an absolute guess. Thistle.
As in Partick Thistle?
Yeah, sorry, Partick Thistle.
Just in case you were meaning Meadowbank Thistle or something like that. Mason?
I went with Dundee. Completely guess.
The correct answer was Montrose. For those of us old enough to remember that game, we were 1 down at half time.
Let's see.
1-5-1. Who made his Rangers debut at Hampden in a league game against Celtic? Remember, Celtic played for a year at Hampden when Parkhead was getting rebuilt, if you could call it rebuilt. So, Mason, who made his Rangers debut against Celtic in October 1994 at Parkhead?
Yeah, I'm sure he got signed way before this, but I put Ian Ferguson.
Okay, Kris?
I was so confident about this answer. I've kind of went to myself now, but I put Alan McLaren.
Alan McLaren is absolutely right. He was signed that midweek in he came for Hearts, and Dave McPherson went back to Hearts from Rangers as part of the same transfer that season. That was the day they won 3-1. Loudrup ran riot.
Just quickly, sorry, he's a player. I remember being at his testimonial. What was your thoughts on McLaren? Like, my dad always says he was a complete defender. If it wasn't for injury, he would have been a great person to take over.
He was never quick or anything like that, but he was a very, very good defender. He was going to be the captain after Gough. I think he was signed as the next Rangers captain. In fact, he captained us the night we won 9 in a row, didn't he? Because Gough was injured. But he was going. I'm sure Smith saw him as the man he was going to build the defence on after Gough retired. I'm sure he was. But as you say, injury ruined them.
Sad.
Second last one. Who scored a penalty in the Petrofac Cup final against Peterhead?
Is it me? Andy Halliday.
Might as well be. Andy Halliday. Mason.
I've got Andy Halliday as well.
Right, that's absolutely correct as well. Towards the last 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure we got a penalty. He scored it. Must have been the days before Tavernier took them. Because he played that day, he even scored a cracker, didn't he?
Yeah,
And finally, our last question 25, Mason. Who did we defeat in penalties in the Scottish Cup semi-final in 2008 at Hampden?
I want to say St Johnstone, so that's what I've got. That's what I've gone with.
Kris?
St Johnstone.
St Johnstone. That famous never-ending season we went to Manchester, that all the cup ties went to replays and penalty. I know. I don't even want to think about how much money I spent watching Rangers that season. If there had been a tiebreaker, which we didn't need, obviously, what would have been your guess for Alfredo's number of yellow cards, Kris?
10.
1,000.
Is that per season? Mason, how many times did he get booked?
I put 76.
See if you put the numbers all the way around. 67 was the right answer to that. And I'll give you another bit of trivia. The all-time record holder for yellow cards with Rangers is Lee McCulloch, who was booked 68 times. And there's Alfredo, 67. So if he had just not been suspended as much, he could maybe have broke that record as well as the European goal scoring one. So that's the end of the quiz. That was the thing then, wasn't it? So out of 25, Mason got a very respectable 14, which against most other opposition, I think you might have done rather well. But Kris, with a monumental and highly impressive 21 out of 25, you are the deserved champion, quiz champion and trivia knowledge champion of the Gallant Few podcast. Well done. Congratulations.
Well done, Kris.
21.
You can tell that I've just scoured well, I was on holiday. I was on holiday at the same time as you, and I was just scouring Rangers in Europe and all the different pages and that just to get my knowledge up. But just as you say, just these questions is the right ones, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm very impressed. Very impressed. Well done. Well done. So you enjoy that? Sorry, Mason, but silver medal's not too bad, isn't it?
No, I'll take that. 21 out of 25. That's some going, isn't it? Some of them answers.
That's a winner. That's a winner's score, definitely. So I don't know whether there'll be any more quizzes in future for you to defend your title or not. That'll be up to you guys. But if you ever want me to do such a thing again, I'll be quite happy to do it. And I'll just need to think of something even sneakier if you're going to be in it again.
Yeah, I'll make sure again. I miss Chris's group the first round. But no, Davey, thanks so much for that. It was brilliant.
No problem.
I
just want one quick. No problem. One quick question. I take it you didn't have notes and things in that Doug's collar or anything like that, did you? You didn't have things written down in there.
He doesn't wear a collar.
Okay. Anyway, it was great. Thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate you asking me on, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'll have to try and get Davey on so he's answering the questions. We've got to try and catch him out, haven't we, Kris? That's what we've got to try and do.
Absolutely.
I have to speak to Colin and see what we can sort out. But no, thanks so much for that, Davey. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. Speak to you again soon.
And be sure to send it. Let us know when's your new book out?
Oh no, it's not finished yet. The book I'm writing at the moment is a biography of Torry Gallant, which I'm writing along with another Rangers writer, Ian Stewart, who wrote Tiger Shaw's biography. The two of us are having a go at doing justice for Torry Gallant. What a career he had. I think I've got to know his family. Lovely, lovely people, and they're looking forward to reading it as well. So I better make sure I do it because I don't want to let them down.
Brilliant, mate.
That sounds top class. I'm sure Colin will have you on as soon as that's ready to go, Davey. So look forward to that.
That'll be a while yet, but yeah, look forward to it.
Top man, and well done, Kris. Well done again, mate.
It's a pleasure.
We'll make sure we get something sorted so you can defend the title. But listeners, make sure you give that a go and see if you can beat Kris's. I bet no one does. But as always, thanks for listening. Take care.